Hello everyone, do you like my new hat? From Mind, the mental health charity, just try my best. It has the Mind insignia on the back. Today's video is random but also not random, from the heart. Zoe Clarke appreciation video. So she is an Irish musician, busker, songwriter. I believe she has written 2 songs now, maybe more. But she sings very much from the heart. So, yeah, Zoe Clarke, I discovered, I'm not sure, maybe more than 5 years ago, actually. When YouTube went through this phase of suddenly, I've always loved Celtic music and obviously Celtic legends like the Arthurian legend, but one day YouTube started politely shoving loads of Basker-centric videos into my feed, so I discovered these people like Ali Sherlock, Zoe Clarke, and it was around that time that I discovered Lucy Thomas, so there was a bundle of them, and it's good, it was promoting them, but just came out of nowhere. Anyway, so yeah, this is more than 5 years ago. So have known about Lucy Thomas for a little while now. Lucy Thomas was not on Grafton Street, but this was all a blur at first. Who are these people? Where do they come from? So I saw it's Lucy Thomas of Busk, although she did do busking actually to begin with. But she also now has loads of albums. She's had a good few concerts. I've been to 3 of them. Three concerts, yeah. Manchester, Liverpool twice. I have a ticket for the Rosie premiere next month, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, sadly, because of different things going on, and my phone has broken down. I'm still waiting for replacement, etc., etc., etc. So I am a bit stuck at the moment, a bit grounded. I cannot travel, and I'm waiting for my new phone to arrive. But I hope I will be there, but we shall see. But yeah, music is great for the soul, and music people can, there are all sorts. I've been around the block a few decades now, so I've heard a good from mega famous like Avril Lavigne, of course, and Taylor Swift. Some less famous and mega famous bands like Roxette, my favourite band, and male singers Phil Collins, Lionel Richie, and on you can go. That there are loads of different singers that sound as though they're convicted when they're singing, and they probably are to some degree anyway. But yeah, I think there is something special about maybe this partly due to this age, or even though we have these computer screens providing distance between us, in some ways we're more connected because now musicians like Zoe Clarke can have these live streams. You see even more of the person and you understand the story behind the song, and it feels like there's more conviction. It may not necessarily be more conviction, but you are able to see more of it, more of the heart's authenticity. But also, I feel, and I'm sure Zoe, she has said in interviews and other people say that the industry is tough because it is, of course. But in other ways, I suppose there are less barriers. I mean, busking has been around for donkey's years, but, well, not donkey's years, but a good while. But also with the aforementioned cameras, YouTube live streaming, you not even have to record yourself singing it and then upload it. You can live stream if it's safe. Obviously, there are dangers. Obviously, there are dangers in all sorts of ways. There could be a siren which drowns out your music. There could be some physical confrontation, but which is obviously very scary. And I have heard Zoe and others talk about that, understandably, that because you're really exposed. You're on a high street, even if it is familiar to you. You do not know every single person who's going to walk by. You know barely anyone who's going to walk by, even if a lot of people have their routine. You know nothing about that person who's on their way to work, who's just left work, who's just left police station, who's just going to police station, etc., etc. So I really that's it is true to say courageous. Yeah, courageous, putting yourself out there to make music for yourself, and it hopefully helps them to feel good and develop not just their music but their character overall. But also for us, we have the privilege of sitting from home unless you're on the Grafton, and I'd love to visit Ireland. That's definitely a goal. But otherwise, you're watching from home. You should hopefully have some safety at home where you're relatively comfortable, and you can see these people in their natural element, see these Pokemon, these wild Pokemon in their natural environment. They have not been placed inside a Pokeball, being ultra processed, like American cheese slices or the Aldi cheese slices, to be quite fair. Um, you're seeing a wild Zoe, a wild Lucy Thomas, and Lucy Thomas, as I say, she has albums, she has a company behind her, Cavendish Records. Um, but I've met her personally, and other people have said the same. We all have this consensus that she is so down to earth, so herself, and I've met her parents briefly as well. So, and Martha, I spoke to at the Manchester concert, I believe it was. I'm not sure if I've spoken to her since. But she did debut. But she was a guest at all three concerts. Yeah, she has been a secret guest, not so secret because we all suspected she'd be there, but nice. There's that 1% doubt. Will she be there? And then she appears and sings on stage with her sister. They harmonise so well. They have such a lovely bond. It is all great to see. So again, that's authenticity, and obviously that causes its own problems. You need to have those boundaries. What do you share via Instagram, YouTube, etc.? That is so important for your mental health, your physical health, often as well, and your safety. Anyway, safety and security. So it does come at a price, and with the internet, where we say everything is recorded, it is not quite true. Often, when you are looking desperately for something, you find a website's been removed or whatever, and there's no trace of it, as though the website never existed. Like one of my favorite gaming franchises, Golden Sun, from the early 2000s. There used to be this forum, maintained to this day, where they were revealing, well, supposedly revealing all of these hacks you could do to explore areas ahead of time, whatever. And obviously, like, I later on realised, without some sort of game cheat device, this is all complete nonsense. But as an adult, I wanted to revisit the forum because I know I did not imagine this. It was all completely true. I used to spend a lot of time on the forums trying to get to this secret ladder to end up being walked somewhere else, and there's no trace of the forum whatsoever. It has completely disappeared. I cannot find any of the posts anyway, so the forum is still there. They've completely sanitized all of these nonsensical but quite cute in hindsight cheats or whatever to explore new areas and whatever unfinished areas, whatever it was. So, but yeah, certain things will always be, and obviously this is something that worries me when I create videos. I'm quite sure no one is interested in distorting my videos or whatever. Well, maybe my gameplay videos, but not ones where I appear personally, unless someone has some strange fixation with me, which unfortunately there are people with unhealthy boundaries or lack of boundaries. But you do worry when you put yourself out there that someone's going to edit your video, and especially with artificial intelligence now, and say that you were saying this, you were not saying this, etc., etc. So, for all I know, there's someone downloading every single one of my videos for some nefarious purpose, and someday they're going to re-edit all of them, hack my channel so it looks so they actually come from my official channel, the new edited versions. So there is. I completely appreciate, and especially, again, men obviously can be in danger as well, but for young women, obviously, there can be additional dangers and fears. So putting yourself out there definitely is something to be praised. Does not feel like the right word, but understood, definitely understood that people, some people sit on the sidelines and say, "Oh, this is so easy. This person just sings and they get money thrown at them." Well, first of all, if that were the case, is there a purer reason for gaining money than singing music? Why are you so offended? And secondly, they have to put in hard work, and as Zoe and Lucy and others will tell you, as I'm sure Phil Collins and Lionel Richie, when they were operating from their more humble roots, will tell you that they had to whatever, unless they were picked up straight away by a record label. They had to, and even if you do have supposedly financial success, obviously that is not everything. People like Avril Lavigne and Taylor Swift have spoken about not being able to make the music they wanted to make and having conflicts. So you are giving yourself up, and people will say, "Oh, it's a small price," but it's not a price because identity is really the um, greatest form of existence. The greatest. It is the it is our character, and it relates also to mental health, to physical health, etc. But that when we look at all of that, we look at it through the lens of our identity. So giving up your identity is it is true to say, one of the biggest sacrifices. It's a massive thing, and you can change slowly. Well, everyone changes anyway in some ways, but bit by bit you start getting sucked into the YouTube machine or whatever, and you may become unhappy with your videos, your music, your gaming, whatever. But and so that's another way in which case you lose your identity. In a parallel universe, you could have been happy or doing something else, whatever. There are all sorts of sacrifices, all sorts of costs, prices. So and again, especially for these people who are starting quite young, Lucy seems to have a good family around her, but the universe is a scary place, and mostly because of the humans on it. The humans are a very scary species, to say the least. We are by far the most dangerous creatures to ever existed on this planet. If there are extraterrestrials somewhere, then not knowing what they're like, we have to just say this planet. But if we are the only planet with this kind of life, then we are by far the most dangerous species, and with so much potential for good, but we squander it left, right, and centre. So, it is very. There's nothing easy about it, especially for young women, but also young men and other people. Anyone and everyone can get stalked, harassed, bullied, defamed, mocked, belittled, have breakdowns, and so forth. So everyone should be treated with that same respect and care. But there is that need for a very delicate balance, showing that authenticity like Lucy and Martha do, but recognising, especially when, as I say, they're becoming famous quite young. Lucy was on The Voice Kids, but I never watched The Voice. Or the kids' version, so I did not know about her then. It was via YouTube. YouTube just woke up one day and said, "Oh, by the way, these people exist." So they discovered these Baskers and Lucy Thomas. There's that great desire to protect them, to watch over them, and obviously that's our responsibility. We need to do that, but you have that very very fine balance, which will look very different for each person and through different years and such. Because Lucy is now an adult. But also, you have to remember that she became famous as a child, so there is still that reference to the past self online. So you have to try and. I mean, I'm not sure what the. I know Ali Sherlock's father used to handle her social media for her, probably not so now, that she's a bit older, but. You've probably seen yourself, and you can imagine the frankly deranged and disgusting messages sent, I think often via Instagram and YouTube. You have to try to. I mean, I'm not sure if it's a solution necessarily, but maybe. And this is something social media companies could implement. Create this a sort of lock for certain content. So if someone is, say, under 16 or under 18, I think it should be, if someone is under 18, certain content gets locked or erased. The user will have the option of downloading their own content or for a limited time, but publicly it becomes locked after a while. So it's not kept there indefinitely. maybe that is something that could be implemented. But yeah, there's so many dangers, both online and offline. It is a terribly scary world. And then you have people like Zoe, Lucy, and all the others. You know, when I've been to Liverpool, I came across a busker called Laura Carr. She's on YouTube. You can follow her. She sings very beautiful Celtic songs. Some I recognise, some I'd not heard before, so that was nice, as well as the old classics. Um, yeah, so you know, these people out there, you're standing in often very torrential weather, rain and whatnot, which could damage your equipment and stuff. But um, it's beautiful to see that we have this world, first of all, that has music, has the concept of music, and that it pleases our ears, our minds, our brains. There must be a great neurological reference as well, psychological, but it it's a beautiful world, but yeah, and it is nice that people can just go outside. Obviously, again, there are dangers, but in terms of the that freedom, and I use the term loosely, of course, but I think even in Ireland on the famous Grafton Street, there was some sort of restriction coming around. But I heard that London was trying to stop busking for some reason. Probably this is so a local council can 5 minutes later say, actually, you can busk for £500 a year if you pay a fee. And Birmingham City Council are no different. Well, Birmingham City Council is morally bankrupt, as I know, but that's another story. So the fees for acting and for busk, I'm not sure about busk catching now, but if he wants to film on council land, it's extortionate. It really is. Small companies have no chance. So probably they're just trying to milk. That they will create this busking tax in London probably, but I'm not sure what happened with that because naturally there were petitions, but you know MPs can just ignore petitions if they feel like it. But yeah, why would you why? Okay, people were saying that it disturbs businesses, which is fair enough. Maybe the council should provide businesses with some proofing for those most at risk or whatever. That's fair, but also you know, you have people screaming on the street at any part of the country, any part of the world. Police sirens, ambulance sirens doing their thing, you know, we know why they have sirens, but obviously it is also fair to say they are extremely upsetting. They can distract you, they can prey on chronic anxiety and so forth, so they can cause distress and alarm. Music which is designed to be not even neutral but positive by nature, and I do not really feel it is that's loud. Thinking about the busking I've seen up close and trying to extrapolate from the videos I've seen online how loud it would have felt in the moments being up close to it, close proximity to the singer, the equipment, and such. So why do we really need to basically outlaw busking completely instead of saying, well, here are the guidelines. How about no busking before 9 a.m., give people time to settle into their offices, whatever, and no busking after 7 p.m. or so. I'm just making things up, but you get my point, I'm sure. Why does it have to be all or nothing? I'm not sure what happened with that. But anyway, people like Zoe, yeah, they put so much of themselves out there on a personal level, which really this was my point of main what I was leading to from the beginning. It really helps you to understand the music. You really understand, especially when Zoe and others have written their own songs. You understand the story, whether it is grief and heartache, joy, something else altogether, a dance with an unknown mystery, whatever it may be. And so, first of all, I want to say, if I've not said it already, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. It really helps. And for me personally, it has helped me a lot being around. Music really is, you know, everyone says music is central to their life. And of course, barring the odd person who's not really into music. But for me, it is absolutely central without going into too much detail in this video. It really can be a great crutch, especially when in very, very difficult and trying times. And it's that voice, that additional voice you can have alongside everything going on. Again, with regards to your identity, whatever grief you are working through, trauma, and so forth, um, you have this other voice who, on the one hand, is alien, which is part of the attraction because that makes it more powerful. Because it's not something. I know that may sound strange if you're not familiar with my way of thinking, but when we try to help someone, we almost always fail. Which is not to say that we should not help and that we never can, not at all. But partly it is to do with formalising processes. You notice it on a political level, national level a lot. But also it happens on a personal level. Whenever we formalise something, whenever we structurise, shall I call it, is that a neologism for today? Structurise, whenever we structure and everything usually backfires, or we at least dilute our potential to help. So when you have a song and singer that's not designed to, they're not even they know they're not going to, or they're modest, they do not imagine that they will touch their music, that they will touch people's hearts in any way, at least to begin with. Lucy Thomas has been saying at her concerts that she's really touched to understand that she has moved people. So she is an exception now, of course, because she's become aware, but still seems very modest and gentle, humble. So it has not affected her. She's still very down to earth, and that comes through in her music. But again, thinking about when I first heard Lucy's covers, it's so foreign. You have no idea who she is. There's this foreign element coming into play, and it's not trying to match against your traumas or whatever. But that gives it unlimited potential to potentially help with that, or to help with something else. The potential is so untapped. It's so unbranded, untitled. There's a new singer. You may have heard some of her covers. You may have heard the song she's covering. This is a completely unique performance, and she has a unique voice on what her story is, and so there's that unknown element. But at the same time, there's the familiarity of hope and furtherance, and again, Zoe has opened up about some of her struggles very bravely, I will say, without restraint, sentiment, most sincerely, very bravely, talking about them, and that. So you just, you can feel I suppose a symbiotic relationship, a very nurturing relationship with the music and the person, what little you know of them, because of course you only see what is online, but you get a good sense that you can see that their heart, their focus, their identity. So like I say, that just singing without going on a mission to try to heal hearts, for instance. And some people may have that as their mission. That could be fine. It may not corrupt them. It may not dilute their music. But the point is, what we notice is that when people just exist in doing what they do naturally, they have the most profound impact always. It is that. I think it is partly due to the receiver being unguarded, because they never even knew this person existed. So there are no preconceptions. There's no experience with them. And that is not to say that their reach gets diluted with the decades, because I was in hospital once listening to Avril Lavigne quite a lot, and Southern songs in particular, and those songs are no less important to me now. So there's no dilution, there's no diluting of that effect. But again, when something is new, it just stands to reason it is new. You have no idea what effect it will or will not have, and sometimes we get stuck in our ways. Or say, I will listen to this song for when really struggling. This song is to try and prevent a collapse. This song is for when I am feeling good and I need to be motivated to tackle the day's work, or tackle a year's work. You often have a sense of what is going to happen within a year, so if you think I need to keep listening to this song day after day, or every week or whatever. But yeah, so Zoe's music, she just seems very, very sincere and very, very level-headed. You can sense her natural intelligence and the natural education, her experience. So um, I appreciate you, Zoe Clarke, and your music. This is a Zoe Clarke appreciation video. In fact, I was thinking that this day forth shall forever be known as Zoe Clarke Appreciation Day, the 27th of February, 2026, 12:15 p.m. Zoe Clarke Appreciation Day. So remember that. Put that in your calendars. And yeah, I just wanted to promote, not to promote, encourage people, remind them that they are doing fine as they are, because this is a cutthroat world in so many ways, especially emotionally. Some people overlook the emotional plays, the emotional strays, emotional days, and whatever else may rhyme and be appropriate. The the emotional stays, yeah, the emotional stays. It's we, yeah, it is a lot to put yourself out there. It does command a lot to put yourself out there. But Zoe is doing a good job. I truly think you're doing a good job, and I look forward to more of your music being released. And hopefully someday I can make it to Ireland. That is a mission, to experience the busking scene um, up close, because I know Grafton Street is very lively with all these. It seems to be a machine for producing buskers. It seems it's like an epicenter, like from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World, the plateau where all of these worlds are mixing and breeding new worlds in some way, maybe. Ireland's Grafton Street seems to be, it just creates buskers. There's some magic in the air, I think, and Zoe has the magic too. So also to our other young singers, Lucy Thomas, Master Thomas, and horse riding that she likes to do as well. I hope that goes well. I keep wanting to get into horse riding, but because there is a stable, whatever you call it, not far from here. The weather is not good right now, and I need to buy the equipment. But I would like to ride the horses actually. That is also a mission. Um, yeah. All of our singers, um, it is some sort of myth that things get easier when you get older. Um, the stress factor is always in play, or you are always in danger of um, adopting some sort of stress factor if you do not have one already. But especially for our younger singers, they need to be encouraged, not because they necessarily need their guidance, but just um, I think it is a case of, I'm sure they appreciate our words all the time and when spoken so sincerely, but there are so many negative, I mean, truly, it is one thing to say, I do not like that song, that is fine, that's your opinion, but, people who just come out with nonsense and abuse and, um, whatever, just nonsense. You see them in the YouTube comments section and wherever else. It is a cutthroat world. It is very stern, to say the least, and very unfair, very unjust. So, at least make sure you're not one of those people. At least be neutral, and if you can, be positive. And again, it does not mean that you have to like the music or that you should pretend to like the music. That would be awful, to deceive Zoe, to deceive yourself. But to give feedback, say, I'm not so keen on this song. Have you thought about playing it this way, or something decent, something full of furtherance, to actually create a bond, a dialogue with people, instead of what I call sniping. Where we live in this world more than ever, where there's more chatter than there has ever been at any time in human history. I think we can agree, year after year after year. But no one is actually talking to one another. We just exchange statements. The whole thing about dialogue has been broken up completely. We just exchanging statements. Stock phrases as well, is how I often put it. Hello, hi, how are you, etc., etc. And then on a more deeper, intimate level. So it seems to be true intimacy, but it is not. It's just no people not actually feeling as they talk and as they conjure up these thoughts, even people just issuing stock phrases and exchanging them with other stock phrases. When you realize what I mean, you'll suddenly have a soft eureka moment when you realize, oh my God, that is actually it, what's happening. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Analyze everybody's speech patterns and realize what is going on. People are just exchanging statements and stock phrases, and from some perspective within themselves, they think they are actually talking, but they're not. It is not an actual dialogue. So yeah, try and make a dialogue. Actually, I'm not being rude when I say this. I'm just stressing what has happened. Actually think when you are thinking. Actually really take the time and the effort to actually inject something into the conversation and appreciate the person. Because it becomes, partly due to the internet, I think we've become so distant from dialogue itself, but it is not too late to get back to it. Maybe in 50 years it will be. Maybe humans will be just headbutting each other to communicate, but then that is what 50% of humans do anyway, to be fair. So you take my point, we need to step away from that. So yeah, I appreciate you, Zoe Clarke. Keep up the good music. I'm a big fan. Keep singing from the heart. That is all you need to do. Keep singing from the heart. Keep being yourself. And thank you for sharing yourself and your music with us. And maybe someday I will see you and the other buskers in Ireland. But well done, and take care. Take care of yourself and your family and your friends. And before I forget, there was something else I wanted to say. I caught one of Zoe Clarke's live streams, I think for the first time. Was it a couple of years ago or something? I think I knew quite a bit about her, but I was just discovering her properly for the first time. And I was really struggling to stay in the game. And I was really struggling to stay in the game. I was really overwhelmed with stress and stuff, and I remembered Zoe just happened to be online live streaming on YouTube, and I saw and obviously, my feelings are not your responsibility. I do not want to give that pressure, but at the same time to stress how, without even meaning to, you can have a positive impact in case you ever doubt yourself. Again, that magic of that person you have no relationship with, that actually seems to make it more effective, curiously. But unsurprisingly so from my perspective. I barely knew who you are probably at the time, and you did not even know that I existed. I'm just a number on your live stream, whatever. And it's just something about it when you're so focused on something and there's something so remote, so unconnected, it is able to reach deep into you. And again, because I'm very good at reading people, very good, I could sense her sincerity. I could feel how measured her words were. I could sense a great intelligence within her, great creativity, and so there are those positive, attractive elements. And it just really, even though I was sort of zoned out from the world because I was really drowning, I found it very, in a way, therapeutic, very, very helpful, very, very grounding, very grounding, very. And I remember well, I was actually sitting on the floor. Speaking about being grounded, I was sitting on the floor. It's something I do when in certain mindsets. I was sitting on the floor with my laptop, and the live stream came on, and so I was. The fact that I was sitting on the floor was showing that I was trying to desperately find a way to ground myself. I knew that I needed to shift my mindset somehow, and then Zoe came on and was talking very naturally and singing, and I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but it just goes direct to you because it just is a very positive influence, those kinds of moments with those kinds of people. So thank you, Zoe, really, I thank you truly. Thank you for your music and for who you are, for being authentic. So So thank you. Zoe Clarke Appreciation Day, 27th of February. Remember, it's next year, okay? There will be a quiz at some point, okay? And if you do not get all of the questions correct, you will be forced to watch an EastEnders omnibus, which is a fate no one should ever have to endure. Thank you so much, Zoe. Take care of yourself.